Hey everyone, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates podcast. I'm JP. I'm joined here with Jake, and we actually have a host swap. BP could not make it today.
Reason for that, from what I heard, is he's actually been spending all day practicing the dance from Hannah Montana and applying to do a TikTok video with Brat in hopes of being accepted. So best of luck to him. I hear he's going to actually put that out on Twitter at some point of his practice. So I really can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Yep, be on the lookout for that. Short and sweet. Hey guys, I'm Andrew, host number 4 of Devil's Advocates. I've been on the backside a little bit. I've been writing the TikTok. If you're not following us over there, please drop us a follow there. We drop a couple of TikToks every single day of cool clips that happen during the show. I also help run the Twitter, and you'll definitely be seeing a lot more from me now on the podcast. Definitely excited to get going.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you aboard. So today we are going to talk about our way too early Metro rankings.
Should be good.
Yeah, this should be a fun
Really
one.
spicy.
Yeah. Just starting it off, guys. Who you got in the 8th slot?
Before we reveal, I had a prediction that I was going to make when I originally did think BP was still making it. Now we all are privy now to BP's entire rankings, so I know that my prediction is already wrong. But between the three of us, I'm going to make it anyway and see if I'm right. So my prediction, don't reveal first place, but I'll say it. First place for me is Devils, obviously. My assumption is that is everybody's first place in the Metro. My assumption as well, prediction for last place for everybody, and my last place is the Philadelphia Flyers.
That's who I have in last.
I'm with you there on last place, but...
So yeah, BP ruined it all, as always. But, boys, so we all agree, Flyers. What was your reasoning in Flyers in last place?
They have no one. They will have no one. They suck.
Yeah, I think their top line center is... honestly, I don't even know who it is. They traded away Kevin Hayes in the offseason. They had that whole big...
Scott Laughton.
Is it Scott Laughton?
He's the highest paid center. He's probably the best center. I mean,
right.
The team's brutal, boys. Like,
Faceoff says Morgan Frost, and I'm sure everyone else has forgotten about Sean Couturier, who's still recovering from whatever injury.
Okay, I don't think Couturier is coming
Coots
back.
is good, but I think he's done.
I love Coots, but if he wasn't a Flyer, but yeah, I don't think he's coming back. Beyond that, other than the roster being abysmal, probably the best player on the roster, from what I know, is also a kind of a question mark, similar to our Mikey McLeod. And we'll see maybe in the next few weeks or so if he's going to be on the roster next season, as in Carter Hart.
Yeah.
I don't think he's as implicated potentially as Mikey, but I'll put it this way. If Hart's gone for them next season, we're probably looking at one of the worst records in the NHL ever type scenario. Like,
I don't know who their backup is. Samuel Harrison.
Cal Peterson.
That's right. Yeah.
I forgot they did that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, it's dire over in Philly.
To be honest though, like outside of like roster construction, I don't really hate a lot of the moves they've been making in the offseason. They kind of are cleaning up a lot of the dead wood. Like Danny Briere's doing a really good job cleaning up the trash that Chuck Fletcher left him. Like they picked up Peterson, that huge deal from Provorov. Provorov, not like what he probably everyone thought he was going to be coming out of the draft. Like everyone kind of like thought of him going to be like a bona fide like top line guy. Like he's more of a top 4, and there's nothing wrong with him. But I feel like he might be a little overhyped. But they definitely did a good job getting some assets in for the future there, I think.
Yeah, I mean he's also a dick.
That definitely doesn't help the cause either.
Yeah, they got rid of all their assholes.
Yeah,
yes,
Tony DeAngelo.
good for them.
Yeah.
Briere, I think, has done fine. I don't know about very good. I think he's done well enough given the situation he was placed in.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the moves before that were brutal, right? The Ristolainen contract. I mean,
assets for Tony DeAngelo, then buying him out a year later.
Yeah, they're kind of in the spot where they just need to basically tank it out, sell off guys as they become, pending UFAs, spend at least a few, 3 to 5 years in the basement, getting high draft picks. And
well, they were kind of gifted Matvei Michkov because no one above him wanted to draft him, so that kind of supercharges their
Well, it
pseudo
sounds.
rebuild a little bit.
My understanding is it wasn't just that nobody wanted him. I heard that he only interviewed with the Flyers.
Was that the case? There was a lot of like
So I think
you say.
from the sounds of it, he might have been open to the Capitals, but it sounds like from what I just saw, read, again, fairly rumor mill-y, nothing like concrete, but he really only met with the Flyers. Definitely no one above him. No, like no one above the Flyers in the draft order.
Well, definitely didn't meet with the Coyotes because I don't know what the hell they were doing.
And I believe he also told them he was 2 years out, not the 3 minimum. So
right, I think that's the whole thing too.
I think his biggest thing is he wanted to be the face of our organization, which I think did steer him slightly away from the Capitals. Ovi, obviously, he is the Capitals.
Yep.
He'll be the guy in Philly. There's no doubt. Which is unfortunate for us because he's probably going to be an absolute stud.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? He's not going to carry that team alone on his back. So they got a lot of work they got to do to surround him with some decent players. So, but yeah, no, Flyers unabashedly are the bottom.
Who did BP have in the 8 slot?
He had Columbus.
That's a little unfair.
I have Columbus well higher. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, same. So yeah, same.
I think it might be lower than you guys are on them based on that.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, I wish BP was here when I saw that. I said it in our little group DM that I think he's way too low on Columbus. We'll get to that more when we reach where I have them ranked. But definitely below the Flyers, I think is just I don't know how that happened. They would have to have even worse injury luck than they had last year.
Yeah, I gotta know
and
that.
Play even worse.
I don't see that happening. I don't see either of those happening.
So, yeah, no. Flyers, bottom. I don't even think Flyer fans would argue with us, to be honest. I think they are very well aware of where they're at.
Yeah.
I mean, Flyers fans could take solace that they finally have some sort of direction. It's like, okay, we're tearing it down. We're going to be bad for a couple of years. We're not going to try and, do pseudo patchwork and, try and sneak in the playoffs and have Carter Hart steals a round or two. They're finally like, okay, we're going to be bad. Get rid of the contracts, bring in futures, let's build from there.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. 7 slot. Who you guys got?
Washington.
Boring. I also have Washington.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
That sucks.
Okay. I thought I was going to be
I have Washington. They're super old and they're going to be super slow, and the Metro is getting increasingly fast.
Washington is bottom of the Metro if the Flyers weren't so bad.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
That's really where it's at.
Yeah.
Super old. Ovi is gonna be Ovi, but he's gonna probably just not be as good. And
he'll get his goals.
I still think he's gonna get 40. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll get his goals. He'll be an absolute power play fiend. He'll be still one of the most wicked shots in the NHL. He's gonna be Ovi, right? But another year older. But everyone's a year older. Their one saving grace, if I got to give them anything for an improvement over last year, is going to be they hopefully, for them at least, get a full year of Tom Wilson. But he's probably going to be trade deadline bait.
Isn't he still out until December?
Is he? Yeah,
I think he might still be out. I feel like we've had some discussions, in our chats on the side or whatever, that he might be out a little bit longer because I know he's kind of been a topic,
a trade target, yeah.
Right, across Devil's Twitter and all that.
If I remember correctly, they mostly just moved guys out and made smartish moves. They needed to do that. They moved the guys they needed to move out, brought in assets in a smart way. I think those were good moves, future-looking smart moves. But nothing enough that's going to buoy them above. And we all agree, second to last in the Metro. I will say, just because we're talking Caps, I'm a big Martin Fehervary.
I think it's
Fehervary.
Yeah.
I think he's awesome. I think he's great. Young stud. They got him locked up on a great deal, and he's still an RFA at the end. If there's going to be a youngish guy that they can look forward to potentially when they possibly try to come out of this at the end of Ovi's contract type situation, he's a guy they can kind of look forward to. But
also kind of getting lost across the Capitals. I feel like everyone kind of forgets that Rasmus Sandin.
I was just going to mention him. Yeah.
Rasmus Sandin is on the Capitals now, and that whole trade with Toronto didn't make sense. Kudos to the Caps for realizing that okay, we're gonna tear it down a little bit. They got rid of Orlov, Hathaway, and Gustafsson. I don't remember the trade exactly, but getting Sandin for someone who's expiring, and I think they gave away Boston's first round pick in the Orlov trade actually.
Yeah, I think
So, I mean, again, like not like
Yeah.
Flyers, but like they're doing some future-ish kind of trades. But I kind of get the whole idea, like it's Ovi's last hurrah. Like let's kind of like prop Ovi up a little bit. Let's give him the record. I mean, they're going to be down here for a while, I feel like.
They've got a couple young. I don't think so. Yes, but I think they're going to continue to make moves to at least try and help facilitate Ovi hitting the goal record. I really don't think they're pushing for like cup aspirations, to be honest.
No.
In my opinion, all their moves are basically we're going to get Ovi the cup record because
Goal
I mean
record.
for goal record. Sorry, for a lot of these teams, winning the cup is obviously the prestige of it all, and for a lot of owners, they do want that. But really, at the end of the day, it's selling all the merch for years and years and years to come for the cup, and it's
Right.
just making all the money off of the cup is really the end game for the owners. Ovi getting the goal record that's probably, to be honest, is probably even more important to
Yeah.
them. I completely get it, but no, I agree. Sandin is also another great defensive piece. Same age, 23, also RFA at the end of his deal. They got a couple nice young defensive guys but again, that's probably a few years off, but they'll only be 26, 27 at the end of Ovi's deal. So they got some things they can work with, but they're just going to probably buoy. I could see them maybe fighting for, third from last, but I feel like the
Also-
bottom, to me, it's the Flyers in the pit of the basement.
Yeah.
The Caps are a tier above that, but still in their own little tier, sitting there second last. Do you guys have any other last comments on Capitals before we move on?
I think they had a pretty decent draft, so I don't think they're going to be like
Yeah, like Ryan Leonard.
absolutely horrible in like 3 or 4 years, but I think they have a really long rebuild.
Yeah, they got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Just one last note on potential guys out, because Kuznetsov did request a trade out recently, I think.
Right.
Say what
Yeah.
you will about him, he will set up Ovi just like Backstrom. I mean, the guy from an analytical standpoint isn't the best, so if they can bring in some sort of assets, kind of buoy them a little bit, like
Yeah.
on the surface, like from the casual fan, like you might think like, oh, that's Kuznetsov, like that's Ovi's guy, like really good. Like the guy sucks on defense. Like let's not beat around the bush. Like the guy gives up a lot on the defensive end, no matter how
Yeah, he's
skilled
like
he
a
is.
bottom 10 forward for defense.
No, I think he's like bottom 5.
Yeah.
Like whatever site you look at, it's just like
Yeah.
he's not great, but it is what it is. Caps stink.
How about the 6th slot? Who you guys got?
The fall of the Titans in the Metro. If I had the Capitals second to last, third to last, I have Penguins.
That's
That's a hot take.
that is
Caveat. I would change that if they got Carlson.
Interesting.
I have Columbus here. I kind of wanted to put them a little higher with the team I have above them, but I will get into why I don't think they're going to be all that hot this year.
I got the Islanders.
Hey, spicy!
There
Finally,
we go.
That's
Yeah. I think
I like
I
it.
think mine is fairly spicy there. They're so boring. They're so boring, and their only redeeming players are Barzal and Sorokin.
yeah.
And if one of them goes down, then they're fucked.
They'll be chilling with the Flyers in the bottom.
that's
Literally.
redeemable enough, but he's not Barzell or Sorokin. Like I'm not putting him on that tier,
Right.
but he's fine. I actually think Islanders are that super boring, but still just kind of like across. They're basically a worse Carolina. In
See,
my
I think they're a
opinion,
little bit different.
but better goaltending.
Way better goaltending.
Way better goaltending. Really, it's for me. We'll get to where I have the Islanders, but Sorokin, in my opinion, buoys them a lot for me. He really is the reason they're as high up on my ranking as they are.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
But and I think they're fine enough on forwards. They're still, from the sounds of it, are like they are not going into the next season without finding some sort of scoring addition. I know they're in on Tarasenko, but it doesn't sound like Tarasenko wants to go there. Maybe they'll sniff around at Tatar if they don't get Tarasenko. They might look for a trade. I don't know, but it sounds like Lou absolutely wants to find some sort of scoring touch to bring in. I don't know where he's going to find that given the field out there, but
I think
even without that, I think their defense on the whole is commendable for sure. There's no absolute stud beyond a stud guy, but just top to bottom, it shakes out a little bit less, but top 4 at least is good. It's a solid defense that plays the style that Islanders want to play. And with Sorokin in net, that is more than enough.
Even though
Yes.
he was
Yes. I think if Sorokin doesn't get injured, they are probably a 4th or 5th team. I think Sorokin is going to be such a workhorse there that he's going to get some sort of
Varlamov is
injury.
fine as a backup.
right,
Varlamov
but he's old though.
Yeah, but he's kind of been up and down, hasn't he?
is fine as a backup. Fine, you know.
Right,
Right,
but goalie aging curves and all of that, like you can never really trust the goalie at that age. Like, what if he tweaks his groin? Or
You can't trust
something,
the goalie outside of like 5 of them. So.
Right, you can't trust a goalie. At period, like tattoo that on my forehead. Outside of like 3, 4, or 5 goalies, you can't really trust a lot of guys.
No, I don't think they're going to be very good. I hate them. I really do. There's no good reason for me to hate them. I just think they're so boring and awful to watch that like it makes me despise the team.
I
Yeah, no,
probably should probably have them lower at this point. You're talking into having them like.
I hear
what
you
if-
hating the play style and playing against and watching them play, but I think just over regular season, and then as I'm going to get into with me having the Penguins at this spot, I just think on the whole they'll get more points. I actually have a bit of a actually if I go again by my tiers, there's the Flyers in the basement, Caps a little bit above that, but on their own. And then the Penguins actually, for me, are the solid third to last. They're not even in the next tier.
Interesting.
I actually have the Islanders as part of a 3-team tier above the Penguins.
I feel like that's kind of how the Metro's kind of shaking out this year.
So as for my reason for the Penguins is they're, if not the oldest, but I think they're the oldest. If not, they're like second oldest team in the NHL.
31.
Yeah, 31 or something like that.
Crosby's going to be Crosby. Straight up. Crosby's going to be Crosby.
Don't
But-
bet against them.
And I don't think Malkin's ever had less than a point per game season either.
That's correct.
But last year was one of his only, if not his only, like full non-injury season outside of his early years. I think between him, Crosby, they're big guns. They had basically their healthiest season in a while, and I don't see that repeating this year. I know Letang had his issues with the stroke last season, so obviously best of health to him. And again, the caveat: if they bring in Carlson, I think that brings a whole new dynamic to that team, bringing him in and having Letang as well. But without Carlson, Erik Karlsson, for clarity, they're older. I don't think they added any guns to increase. I don't think they made their team any better. Jari is an absolute wild card still. Their goaltending is fairly sus. Their defensive play, I don't think, got any better by bringing in Graves. I'm a fan of Graves. I think he's fine, but I don't think he's moving the needle for them in any way. And I just don't see, outside of Crosby, Malkin, Letang, popping off again, where they popped off last season and still missed. I don't see them popping off more and having the health injury luck that they had last year and doing better. That's what brought the Penguins in at this point. I can hear the arguments for Islanders, Columbus. I mean, Rags falling down a little bit, but I have them a bit higher up too. But I can see the argument. This is where I think it's Flyers, Capitals, locks almost, in my opinion. I can at least hear arguments for other teams being below Penguins, but at least in my opinion, I just don't see how they're better than last year, and they missed last year.
Yeah,
I can get into my reasoning for the Penguins a little bit later when we get to that point of our rankings. I think I can get into it. I think for the Penguins, just to tie a bow on it, I think they did a good job of like kind of rounding out their roster a little bit compared to last year. It's still not great, but like you said, the goaltending is kind of like Tristan Jarry, Casey DeSmith, like not great. Jarry's
it's us. Like, it's really just not great.
I like their tandem over Vanacek. Ooh, hot take.
So you're like,
I know.
You'd rather have, so if you could do
for regular season?
Yeah, I think Jari's a good regular season goalie.
I will not bring up the stats for that one. I'm just going to vehemently disagree with you there. I'd rather have Vanacek and Schmid over those two guys. But
especially at that cap hit and contract length.
Oh,
absolutely.
no. Contract-wise, I prefer ours.
In a
Talent-wise, in a vacuum,
Right.
I think I prefer theirs.
Sure, that's fair. Okay, let me.
I disagree, but again, goalies are voodoo, right? I mean, it's whatever.
Right.
I outside of again a handful of guys, my opinions on goalies are like, sure,
Right.
sure,
Okay.
whatever.
Let me get to the Blue Jackets since I'm the last one at spot 6. I kind of like what they did this offseason. I mean, they kind of got lucky with Fantilli dropping to them at 3. I think that's just an instant shot in the arm. Yeah, JP's shaking his head. I don't know what Anaheim's doing, letting him fall through their
I
hands.
hate the Metro, dude. I hate it.
The Metro, there was kind of like talk going on. It's like, oh, why is everyone so mad that like Flyers and the Blue Jackets are doing well? It's like these guys are going to be a thorn in our side. Like when we're at the top of the game, and they're going to be where like
we had Crosby, Ovi.
Right, exactly.
I hate it.
Anyway, so Fantilli, Severson, Provorov, Yurchek, all coming in. That kind of just gives them a boost right from the start. I mean, that defense was just horrendous last year. Eric Branson playing meaningful minutes should not be happening in the year 2023. That contract does not make sense. But they should be better, I think, overall. They had the second most man games lost last year with 545. A lot of that coming to Zach Werenski. I know he kind of missed like the vast majority of the season last year.
That's so bad.
I mean, bro, we know that pain. Like not this past season, but the season before with our goaltending situation. Like we know that feeling. Like it sucks. It's really hard to overcome. But yeah, those guys coming in, I think will do a good job for them. Overall, I like what they're doing in the draft and everything. Goaltending, again, gives me pause, and I don't know what they're doing with Mike Babcock as head coach. That's probably not the guy to bring in when you're doing a youth movement. Kent Johnson, Cole Sillinger, Adam Fantilli, David Yurchek. Is that the guy you really want leading the charge?
I'll say coaches were a absolute wild card in me putting my spots together because we got a couple new ones in teams.
I almost forgot about him too. I had to factor that in.
Yeah.
It's I'll just throw this in. Columbus is actually my next team up in the ranking, but I want to hear more on your thoughts on why you have them here because I'm only one spot up from there, so I agree with most of what you're saying.
Yeah, I would probably, like I said earlier, I probably would have flipped them with the team I have above them, but I forgot when I was doing rankings. I forgot Mike Babcock is back in the NHL, so I was like, that's probably not going to go well. So, knock them down a peg. I think they're going to be a lot better, a lot more watchable this year. They might score 3-4 goals a game, but they might get 5 or 6. So,
yeah, that's probably fair.
Again, lots to look forward to in the future. Great prospect pool, probably a really underrated one across the league. But yeah, Columbus at 6.
All right. And then at number 5, I have the Penguins.
I have Columbus.
I have the Islanders.
Oh, more spice.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the Penguins. I'm not gonna get too much into it because you guys kind of already touched on it. I think they're gonna narrowly miss the playoffs. Because I do think they're gonna acquire Erik Karlsson, and I think he's gonna give them a big offensive boost. I think Crosby is going to have a chip on his shoulder. I think Malkin's going to have a chip on his shoulder because they hate missing the playoffs. I just kind of hinted at it. I think Jari's a pretty decent regular season goalie. Yeah, I don't have much more to say on that because you guys.
We kind of touched on that.
Yeah,
so I had Penguins the lowest. I don't really disagree with you too much. I could absolutely see Crosby and Malkin popping off in Angry Gino mode. We know how he plays angry. I could see that happening. I would not be surprised if that were the case. Reason I have Columbus here over them is really to what Andrew brought up, the man games lost, plus the additions to the roster. I think it's just basically a brand new team. Really, I mean, it's what, three or four? Basically not new, but essentially new defensemen. You bring in Werenski's going to be back, Provorov, Sivo. That's basically a whole new defense core.
Yeah.
And then you're Jeff.
It's essentially like it's just a whole new defense for them. Merzlikins has any sort of bounce back, and then I'm not really betting against Johnny Gaudreau and Laine. I just think that they have more tools overall to have a big bounce back. If I were to actually go pure vacuum, looking at their roster, bringing in Adam Fantilli, which I do think he's going to make it out of camp, I actually probably would have placed them one spot higher. My only reservation was that's a massive point jump, a little bit hypocritical coming from a Devils fan, considering what we just did. I just don't think they have the track record and the analytics backing it that we did coming into last season. Like, we were primed to explode. I don't think they have those same numbers backing up that type of point explosion, which is why I did keep them here. But again, still over the Penguins, Capitals, Flyers. I think it's actually a pretty good team on the roster.
It's way better
Again,
than last year.
Babcock is my wild card here, and I think if maybe they had a better coach, in my opinion, for the team that they have, I could see them fighting for one spot higher even from here. But like I said, I kind of have a tier here with them, Islanders, and my hot take is I would even throw the Rangers as a drop-off candidate going into next season. But again, massive, that'd be an insane point jump for Columbus. But I'm very high on Fantilli, and I do love Sivo. I think they really bolstered their defense. Any sort of goaltending bounce back, I basically think they had our type of goaltending luck last year. Maybe not in the number of goaltenders, but in the
Quality.
Quality of goaltending they received. So I think they are, if there was any sort of prime bounce back candidate this season, it is definitely Columbus, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm very excited. And they have a lot of young guys. So there's a lot of growth in that team that can come through. I'm pretty high on them. Doing quite well.
Yeah, I think if I were to do a point total, I'd probably have them maybe like a point or two below the Islanders. I probably should have them in 5, I think. But 6 feels right just with the coaching. I don't know if that player combination plus Mike Babcock, I don't know if it's going to work. I hope it doesn't, because that means they're bad, and that's 2 points with the Devils every time they play. So we'll see how it goes. Not sure if it's going to work, though.
Yeah. Number 4 slot. Who you guys got?
Number 5.
4.
Yes, we talked about Columbus. I was looking at 6. We are at 4. That is right.
Islanders for me over here. That's where they ended up.
I got Columbus.
Yeah, the more we talk about Columbus, I feel like that's not super hot.
Yeah, I got Columbus in the 4 slot.
Like I said, BP having them last place was
spicy. Spicy take.
It feels very unfair. Very unfair.
Yeah.
So, for Islanders, I kind of spoke on it when you guys had them a bit lower in the rankings. I think Sorokin is one of those handful of goalies that is reliable and you can count on. He is the reason I have them this high with a roster that is good enough with him to get them to this point. I could absolutely see them flip-flopping with Columbus position-wise here. I could even see them overachieving if they were to bring in some sort of sniper goal scorer. Looking at the field, I just don't know who that is, with the rumor of Tarasenko being completely out on wanting to go to the island.
I think it's Nylander.
So I know they are in on Nylander.
Yeah.
That would be that. If they got him, I am very solidified where I have them. I think at that point I would even rival them with my team, my third place team.
That does feel like a very Lou trade. He's missed out on a lot of guys in the past couple of years. Panarin, Meyer, I think, was linked there a little bit. DeBrincat.
Yeah.
Speaking
of, you brought it up, JP. I agree. I think Carlson ends up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
This ranking is rosters as is, so I didn't want to take him into the equation, but I do think he ends up there over the Canes for a number of reasons. Really, just being Canes are going to have a number they're set at that they're not going to move from. Where I think Pittsburgh with Dubas knows they have a window of Crosby, Malk, and Letang, and they are going to be much more willing to quote-unquote overpay or take less of a retention from San Jose that Carolina won't be willing to do.
Yeah.
Carolina might have better pieces they potentially could move. I just don't know if they'll be willing to do it. But that's an aside.
Yep.
For the Islanders being here for me, I just think a full season with Barzal, Horvat, their solid defense, Sorokin, that they're good enough to beat out the teams I have them below. But I have a very distinct tier of the top 2 of the Metro, and then everybody, the top 2 is just far and away better than everyone else.
Yeah.
So it's really these middle 3 between them, Columbus, and even the Rangers for me are kind of fighting for the third Metro spot and the wild card spots.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really argue with you. If Sorokin is healthy and Sorokin all year, then they're probably going to sneak into a playoff spot.
Yeah, the only thing the Islanders though, I feel like they're kind of like the anti-Canes when it comes to scoring. I feel like they shoot way over than they should. They probably
Yeah, they
should.
do.
I feel like it's like very, it's like very polar opposite from the Canes. The Canes shoot a lot, don't score a lot. The Islanders don't get a lot of opportunity, but they have like the quality of player, which is weird to say. Like the Islanders just have like really good goal scorers. I don't know. The Islanders don't really.
They're weird. They're such.
They
a
don't
weird
do it
team.
for me. Like I don't know what they did this offseason. Like they gave Scott Mayfield 7 years and he turns 30.
Engvall.
I mean, I like Pierre Engvall as a player. I don't mind the AAV. I mind the contract length more,
Yeah.
but that's besides the point. They're weird. They're locking themselves into a very confined group of players, and I don't know if it's good enough, especially with Devils, Canes, where
not.
they are.
It's not. I mean, straight up, it's not good enough. But it's a rank. They're over other teams in my opinion. But no, they're not. Again, they're not touching the top two in the Metro. There's just no shot.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know if I went yet just for 4 for Pittsburgh. I'm not going to bet against Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin ever. I feel like no one has ever come out on the good side of the bet unless you're the Detroit Red Wings back in the day in the Stanley Cup final.
Or last season.
I mean, that was embarrassing. Them losing to Chicago at home the last game of the season, whoever it was. That was.
They did.
They did do it. Tristan Jarry or Casey Smith, whoever was in that, did find a way to let that happen. But no, I think they're definitely way better than last year. I think Riley Smith is a really underrated pickup. I've liked Riley Smith for a really long time. He's a really good two-way forward who has great like offensive and defensive impacts. Plus, he's a pretty good goal scorer. I think he's scored 20 goals the past couple of years. I mean, they definitely need an added jolt of offense with Jeff Carter kind of falling by the wayside. Mikael Granlund's scoring, I think, 1 goal in the 20 games he played when he got there.
So I think Granlund's actually a bit of a wild card for Pittsburgh for me as well.
Me too.
If he plays like he did at the end of the season with Pittsburgh, brutal. But if he has any sort of bounce back, I can see them moving up my.
Weren't they trying to move him?
They were trying to move him.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think.
I mean, they should have. I mean, that trade to get him was just
horrible.
Awful.
So
it was a second-round pick straight up. I like the depth they got though, like Lars Eller, Noah Chari, Matt Nieto, my boy Andreas Janssen. And then they got Alex Nedeljkovic, which rest in peace, Mango. Real ones know. But for Nedeljkovic, I guess it's just more goaltender insurance. I feel like this is going to be the move going forward with a lot of teams, like 3 NHL caliber goaltenders, with what Vegas did last year with Brossoit, Logan Thompson, Aiden Hill,
Jonathan Quick, even.
Jonathan Quick, yeah, whatever you think about him, it's like 3-4 NHL goaltenders or quality goaltenders. I think they'll be better. I don't know if it's gonna be good enough. I don't know if the Atlantic will take 4 or 5 this year. Well, that remains to be seen. But Penguins at 4 or 5, a couple points.
Yeah, yeah. I got the spiciest take here. I think I got Columbus in the 4 spot. I know Merzlikins had a horrible year last year. Just one of the worst, if not the worst, goaltenders in the league. But looking at their defense, like if Jiricek is up, then their number 6 defenseman is Adam Boqvist, and Boqvist is like good, like he's a good defenseman.
I think he's a little overvalued.
Probably.
We don't have to get into that.
Yeah, but I mean he's young, and if you have him in a 3rd pair spot rather than a top pair, 2nd pair spot, I think he's going to be good. But looking at their forwards, I mean, they're going to be fun. I know it's under Mike Babcock, and Babcock is atrocious in every sense of the word. But if somehow he realizes, hey, I'm going to let these young players play like young players, I think they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think they're going to be scoring a lot of goals, and I think their defense is going to make up for shitty goaltending.
Quick question though about that.
Okay.
Do you think Mike Babcock will let them do that though? That's the thing.
I think my hottest take is yes.
You think he's really changed, or what he went on his own spiritual journey the past couple of years after getting kicked out of the NHL, essentially?
According to his interviews, yes.
Yeah.
But that's
Who
probably
hasn't lied on a job interview?
mostly lip service.
You don't.
I mean, I agree with JP. For all the reasons I gave for only having them one spot lower than this, I could absolutely see them. Like I said, I kind of had a tier here where I could see Columbus definitely moving up to this spot as well. Yeah, no, my only pushback on Babcock letting the kids play as kids and letting the kids make mistakes is he's got Johnny Hockey that he needs to please, who is 29 years old and is not getting any younger. And he needs to make a run with him still playing as best he's going to, really. But
Also, the whole Patrick Laine, how are they gonna mesh together?
I think, you know what? I think their top line is going to be really good. It's going to be Gaudreau. It's got to be Fantilli. I know Boone Jenner is like their captain and the center, but I think he's going to slot into the second line because I think Fantilli is going to take over the center depth.
Even if you move Cole Sillinger up there just to get some more of a playmaker,
Yeah.
like move Boone Jenner down to play with like Roslovic
Right.
or whoever. Yeah, I think the line combinations for Columbus are going to be very important because they have good players, but it's just a matter of slotting guys correctly, I think.
Right.
if we get a Johnny Hockey, Adam Fantilli, Patrick Laine top line, where last season it was like, man, I can't wait to play Columbus. That's a free dub. That line horrifies
It's
me.
it's gonna be scary. They have good
Horrifies
depth too.
me.
They have good
Well, anyone-
depth.
Sure, but they'll give you hell in your defensive zone, but they're going to give you the puck a lot in their defensive zone because I don't know how much you can trust these guys to play defense. So
That's-
the whole
I mean,
It's a whole new defense. It's a whole new defense.
I don't know. They're such a weird team now that like the fluctuation that can happen with this team is unbelievable.
Again,
Jan
I think
One has done a pretty good job, I think, with getting a lot of good pieces in, but there's still more work to be done, I think. Which is obvious to say, but
I think they're going to be the clear biggest point improvement over last year. Where they exactly
Yeah.
end up in the Metro, I placed them where I placed them. But regardless, whether they're a little higher or not, I think they will be the absolute point improvement for the season.
Well, I think
They've always-
something that like even I don't think either of you guys have mentioned this. They're gonna have progression from their young players. You know?
I said that.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
right,
I don't listen to you. So.
Fair.
Yeah.
They finished on 59 points last year. I'm gonna give you an over/under, and you tell me over or under.
Okay.
Gambling advice, not gambling advice. 91.5 points.
What was playoff cutoff in the East?
92.
So basically, are they last wild
And
card
two
spot?
teams, Pittsburgh and Buffalo, finished with 91.
Okay.
Do you think they're top
Yeah.
10 in the East?
So over.
I'm gonna say over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So over. Yeah.
I feel like that's a fair line for them.
That
No, that's a good
probably
line.
is,
That
Yeah.
was a good line.
I'm
That's a
going
good
to
line.
go under, but just.
I'm
I
gonna go
think-
over, but just.
Yeah. Over, but
Okay.
just.
That means I made a good line.
Yeah.
Okay. Columbus, I think they're the big wild card this year.
They're
So
a
I-
huge wild card.
So I think from here we're probably all going to agree. The rest
I
of our
don't think
ranking?
so.
I don't
No?
think so.
I think we're
love
gonna
it.
agree on number
I love
3,
it.
but I think that's it.
I
Oh,
think,
okay.
I think me and JP have the same exact top three.
Great.
Probably.
You guys suck.
I think so.
So number 3, we all have the Rangers.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got to find new hosts.
All right. Well, that's boring because it's Shesterkin and then a whole bunch of goal scoring, and that's it. And that's
So
enough to
my
carry.
hot take was I had the Rangers tiered with the Islanders and Columbus, and I could actually see all three of those teams flip flopping between
3, 4,
third
5.
Metro.
Yeah.
Yeah, all three of them I think could flip flop.
I don't think-
New coach coming in. I think the guys are going to
oh my God,
try
Love it.
to just-
That's right.
make adjustments where the assumption is going to be, okay, we're a playoff team. We know we're a playoff team, right? Pretty obvious. We're going to try and fix up some of our play. Really, it's again the reason I have the Islanders as high as I did. If they didn't have Shesterkin, Rangers are not this high, straight up. I also think part of that is I think Kako and Lafreniere take at least a step. Are they going to live up to their draft pedigree?
No.
But they'll take a step. And I think with those two taking a step and Shesterkin just being Shesterkin, they'll end up third in the Metro regardless. I think everybody else basically on the team takes a step back except for like Fox and Miller, who will be Fox and Miller. But Zibanejad, step back. Kreider, step back. Panarin, I think, is going to actually take a step and a half back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
And Trocheck?
He sucks. I don't
It's
care.
just
about
not
Trocheck.
good. Goodrow is abysmal. And
They added
yeah,
Blake Wheeler. That's kind of a neat one.
Did you
that's
say good
which
joke?
is
Yeah, Barkley Goodrow.
Oh, I was thinking
Goodrow.
Johnny Goodrow. Yeah.
Barkley
I know,
Goodrow.
Yeah.
he sucks.
Yeah. No, I was like, I miss, And
It's like,
I do think Wheeler, at least at the price point they got him, he will outperform that contract. So
Right, but the
Yeah.
thing with
We're
Blake
done.
Wheeler is it's more of the same. He's
Yeah,
going to pass the puck. He's going to be awful on defense, just like everyone else on the team basically is up front. Like,
yeah, I think it's just Sturkin, but where I really wanted to put them down a spot or two, because I think Quick is going to bleed points from this.
well,
team.
the thing is with the Rangers, like they're not the best. I mean, it all whatever happens with Laviolette and the defensive system, whatever, how much they tighten up on the back end, like Chester. I mean, you all saw what happened the first round against the Devils. The Devils peppered them over and over and over. The game 7 was 0-0 halfway through the game. That game should have been over.
Yeah.
Like over. And Shesterkin kept them in it. If Shesterkin goes down and they need like Jonathan Quick to play like a bunch of the games, they are going to plummet and they
If
will be
Shesterkin-
sellers.
Yeah, if Shesterkin gets injured, they are not even a wild card team.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Also, the one thing I do like that they did this offseason, and I'm surprised he went for so little, was I think his first name's Eric Gustafsson, who was in the Rasmus Sandin trade
Yeah, he's
with
good.
Toronto last year. Really good puck move defenseman, which I think they need more of, considering Adam Fox is like the only guy on their team who can do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if he plays left or right side, but if he's taking minutes away from Braden Schneider or they don't have Nico Mikkel anymore, Braden Schneider or Zach Jones, I mean, that's a plus for them. It's not going to be a huge difference maker, I don't think, in the grand scheme of things, but it's going to be a nice boon to their defense. With Kakko and Lafreniere, it kind of feels a little bit like the Columbus situation. Like, is Laviolette going to let them play? Like, is he going to lean on them a little bit more? I mean, he's probably going to have that old school hockey mindset. Yes, you shaking your head. He's going to lean on the guys like Kreider, like Zibanejad, like Panarin. Blake Wheeler is probably going to play a lot because he is an older guy, and Peter Laviolette is going to like that. He's going to trust the veteran leadership on that team. I don't know how good it's going to go. I think Kakko and Lafreniere need. I feel like everyone feels the same way about them. They need trades out to progress their career.
Well, I don't know if they need to be traded out. I think they just need more.
Well, they
time.
need more of an opportunity.
Right.
You can't put them on the third. I mean, I do in a vacuum. I do like the kid line. I hate calling it the kid line, but those two with Hito in the middle, I like that as a line. But that should probably be your second line. They should probably be getting fed like 15, 16, 17 minutes a night.
Talking about this line is actually why BP's not here. But could you guys name off the top of your head how many no move, not just no trade, purely no move clauses the Rangers currently have? And can you name those players? Quick off the dome. Yep.
Panarin,
Kreider.
Yep.
Zibanejad, Kreider. Shesterkin didn't get one yet.
Nope. Shesterkin is not a.
Right. I said not. Right. Yep. I said no.
It's Fox, right? Fox has one.
Nope.
Really?
Nope. Fox has no trade protections. Nothing.
Interesting.
At least according to Cap Friendly, nothing.
They'd be stupid to trade him.
Does Miller have one?
Nope.
Nothing. I think Barkley Goodrow got one. He's modified.
Modified, no trade, not no move. You got 2 no moves to name.
Total no moves.
Total no moves.
Kakko doesn't have one.
Vinny Trocheck?
Correct. That's 4 out of 5.
Oh my
God, that's awful.
Yeah. Trocheck for 5.625.
I know last one.
Forever.
I know
you know the last one?
Jacob Trouba.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
God. The worst players in the NHL get no moves, dude.
It's fucking crazy, dude. Like, seriously,
brutal.
it's
Like, this roster is locked in. So
that's so funny. That makes me so happy.
That's like giving Brendan Smith like a 4-year deal, giving no moves. Like, we need you on this team. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Jacob, he's got like what, 4 years left on his contract? I think 3-4 years. It's not a lot at this point.
All right, so we all had them there, and now it does sound like we disagree for the last 2 spots, as this will round out our conversation, and I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit here as we're winding down. But who do you guys have in second? You.
I got the
losers.
Devils. Yeah, I got the Devils.
I also have the boys from Jersey.
Oh, this is why I'm the best. Yeah, so I got Carolina.
Huh,
The thing
shocker.
is, though, I feel like we all the same. Like we're in the same mindset. It's not a huge difference between the two teams. Like,
Yeah.
It's a 1 or 2 points.
Oh no, Carolina's horrifying, especially with the additions they made.
Oh
If they
my
somehow
God.
did get Eric Carlson, or they got Tarasenko, or they get all the a million
I
other
hope they
names
get
that they're
Tarasenko
rumored
because
on.
I don't think that
yes.
fits them at all.
Yeah, no, please. But like, no, Carolina's horrifying. Like I said,
Yeah.
the top two, us and Carolina, is just 3 steps above the rest of the Metro.
Yeah, it's not
Or
even
no.
close.
But yeah, no, I have us over them. I think a full year of Timo, a full year with Luke, Nemec either playing as soon as he's ready, if not by the end of the season, for a little boost there. Jack taking another step. I think Jack basically clears their team.
I mean, we have the best
Easily.
player in the division,
Yeah.
like bar none, not even close.
Yeah. Exactly. So,
Skater, at least.
and I think
Player.
I'm going to say Nico actually takes another step as well.
That might be a hot
Brat-
take.
Brat takes another step.
That's also a
I
hot
think-
take.
I don't know if it's a hot take though, because like the quality of
I guess, I'll say this.
line mates have gone
I'll
up
say-
drastically for the two of them. I think.
So I'll say semantics wise, it depends on your definition of step, but I think they have better seasons. Kind of what Andrew was saying. Overall, they're going to have better line mates, and the power play is going to be better. I don't see how it's not better.
We've been
With a
saying that
full
for a couple of years now, but hopefully this is finally the year where
Yeah, and Timo, Toffoli's there as a swap. Like there was never a 6th guy or even a 5th guy. It was always like the
Your
4
sixth-
studs and Bastion.
your
or
sixth
the
guy
four
was maybe
studs.
like Damon Severson or Andre Palat.
Yeah.
Now it's Tyler Toffoli.
Yeah, or the 6th guy is Toffoli, or it's Brad, or if you even want to go further down, it's Mercer with another step.
Yeah.
Mercer
Or-
does take another step this year. If you want to talk about
Probably.
aging curves and all
Yeah.
that, Mercer takes a step. Jack is going into the peak of his prime here.
Which is
Timo,
scary for everyone
Brat.
else but us.
Nico, Dougie probably takes a slight step back, which is fine because he's going to be completely
Actually,
offset
I
by
disagree with that.
Okay, I mean, I have no issues if you disagree.
I
I'm fine
disagree
with
with
Dougie.
that. Yeah.
He had a career year. I could see
Points
him
wise.
having, yes. I could see Luke get where I think Dougie was the offensive guy. Every offensive situation Dougie was put in.
Yeah.
I think if him and Luke are split, Luke is going to get some of those, which is where my step back comes from. If the synergy, if the lines work out where it's Luke and Dougie together, I'll agree that I actually think he does not. I really think it's going to be deployment is where it's going to be, at least production wise, how he performs.
Right. I was more talking a step back, like metrics wise, because
Analytically,
his analytics were not as good as people would think this year. He was like in the 77th percentile, 80th percentile. So I think he's kind of set right there between 80 and 90 is what I think.
Yeah, I think if he's going to be fed power play 1 minutes, like he should be until Luke's ready to
Yeah.
take the reign. I mean, I think the talent is way too overwhelming for
Yeah.
them to not finally produce at a high enough clip this year. With pairings, you alluded to it a little bit. I don't want Luke to play with Dougie. I kind of hope Luke plays with Marino because I think
Yeah.
that could legitimately be. This might be a hot take. I think it could legit be like one of the best pairings in the league just because of how well Marino can play on the rush, and it could let Luke do what he needs to do, and Luke has the skating ability to get back.
Yeah.
And then you feed Siegenthaler and Hamilton in the situation lesser competition because Marino's clear cut the best defensive defenseman on the team. I think if you give those guys lesser minutes, Dougie could maybe improve analytically because he's not the Severson role from last year, but he's playing worse competition, but he's not getting as many points.
You guys okay kind of talking Carolina? So obviously, I have
Sure, yeah,
Devils
let's
over
get to
Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
Carolina over
Yeah,
Devils.
yeah.
Are you guys kind of okay talking these together? Just kind of comparing
Yeah,
the two
yeah,
teams.
yeah,
We
that's
agree
fine.
they're the top tier.
That's fine.
All right. So if you disagree that you think Nico, Brett, even Timo take steps, whether that's analytically or production, however you want to argue that out, where do you see Carolina in taking the steps, improving outside of obviously they have some roster additions that were brought
Right.
in?
Those are the big ones for me.
That's the big one. Okay,
Those are
because
the big ones.
Aho's another year older. If you want to go into aging curves, he's actually on the downslope. Teravainen even more so. Who is our other top guy? I mean, Svechnikov
He'll be
is
back this year.
he'll
Is he
definitely be back, and he'll actually be if not entering his peak prime, he'll
Yeah.
be like right at that top curve.
Yeah.
So I could absolutely see him, taking producing even better than he did last year. Natchez, I think, is going to be even better. He's fantastic.
He's so good.
But Fost will probably take a step back. Stahl is absolutely going to take a step back even more than he's already done.
Didn't love the contract, but the AAV is not large enough to me.
It's fine. He's their captain. He's kind of a rock for the team. We can't lie. He was fantastic in his role versus us in the
Kills
playoffs.
Jack.
Yeah,
Didn't care for it whatsoever.
fantastic in his role. He did what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Good.
Clutch and grab. It doesn't get called in the playoffs.
Can't argue with that. Steph Jarvis will take steps.
Yeah.
But
Probably multiple.
Yeah, our offset to that is Mercer, right? If you're going kind of roster by roster, which we will get into actual Devils roster straight up comparisons to each of these teams in future episodes. So I don't want to go too deep into it, but I see where Carolina's taken some steps, but I also see where they're not.
I think I know where you're going with this, and I think I'm going to agree with you.
I think we take bigger steps than they do. We were 1 point at the end of the season behind them, and that was with that abysmal December. We also had that 13-game win streak.
Yeah,
those offset a little bit. But it's Burns. I mean, Burns seems to be just
immortal.
Yeah, but
immortal.
eventually he's gotta just not be insane, right? So.
Right though, won't he
Maybe.
still be?
Right. This is the year the Capitals and Penguins fall off, right, guys? Penguins win back-to-back cups. I mean, I do like Brett Burns' game from a defensive standpoint. He's more of a rover and a guy that they also brought in to play that role as well. Dmitry Orlov is really good.
One.
But Brett Pesce is probably on the way out, which kind of plays into her hand a little bit because I don't know the numbers exactly, but I feel like he's a very good rush defender, which benefits us.
No,
if you're removing one of the best rush defensemen in the league against us, that benefits us. But again, they're so deep.
Yeah, I mean they have Michael Bunting on their who's going to be on their third line probably, and I think Michael Bunting is going to be a huge addition for them. I think he's flew under the radar. He is absolutely the perfect player for that system. He's such a pest. He's a very good forechecker. He's good at going into open space.
I agree his game is good for Carolina, but I don't think he actually thrives in a third line role. I think he's actually a very good complementary piece in a top six.
He might as well be on the top six though.
Right. Again, it depends. It's going to depend on what Verdor wants to do with the lineups. If he's just going to take, I forget who played the left wing spot, but if it's going to be Bunting, Stahl, Foss, that's your shutdown line. That's not Bunting's game. Bunting's not going to shut you down unless it's just an added scoring punch, which I can get behind.
I think their other left wingers are Jarvis. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jarvis and Teravainen.
Cap Friendly has Jarvis listed as a right wing.
Really?
Teravainen, Svechnikov, Bunting, Martinook on the left. On the right, it's Jarvis, Natchez, Fost, Nason.
Yeah, so I don't know if Bunting's going to play above either. Obviously, he's not playing above Svechnikov, and I don't know if he's going to play above Teravainen. I don't think so. Teravainen also had a horrible year last year, and if he goes back to playing the way that he usually plays, that's an extra 20, 30 points from that guy.
Yeah.
So here would be my one thing. So, like I said, Aho and I think Teravainen, aging curve wise, are due to they're not peaking,
right?
Especially Teravainen, but they're in contract years, and we know how a lot of guys play in contract years.
Right, but Aho is rumored to be getting that contract very soon. So if he gets that payday, I don't know how much it's going to affect a guy like Aho though.
Yeah, it's. For some guys, I think it's very obvious sometimes, contract years, and it's absolute standouts. Other guys, not as much. What do they have? What does Daily Faceoff have for the defensive pairings for them?
So this is
it's very interesting because you kind of have
Slavin, Burns, Shea, Pesce, who might be traded, and then Orlov, Chatfield is your third pairing, which is disgusting.
If Orlov is on the third pair, that's insane.
I don't have.
Well, Pesce's on the way out, right?
Maybe it depends on if they make additions. So the way that I see it is, if they get Tony DeAngelo, then Pesce is out. Or if they get Erik
which is
Karlsson, then
the
Pesce is out.
biggest downgrade that you could possibly do.
Defensively, yeah. Offensively,
Yeah.
Tony DeAngelo's good. Like,
Right,
he's,
but then what did you bring Dimitri? I mean, what did you bring Dimitri Orlov in for? Like, he's not great, but like, you know what I mean? It's like,
he's a two-way guy. He could play both sides of the puck.
So another reason why I think, well, I agree Bunting is very much a guy that can play this system. And I do think Rod Nabod is quite the coach, as it would seem.
Yeah.
I don't know if all the guys they brought in and the changes they did make, which seem to be, we've gotten to Eastern Conference Finals. We can't seem to win there. We need a punch that gets us through. They brought in some guys that aren't the exact mold of Carolina Hurricanes that has been the team's staple. I would have also probably actually argued this when they brought Burns in and he fit in like a glove. I do think Burns is a bit of a unicorn where that guy probably is just a stud anywhere, everywhere.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
right. He also fit a very specific need for them, like a guy
Yeah.
who can rip shots from the point, transition the puck, which is kind of like Dimitri Orlov too. So I like
Which
that.
is why I would be horrified if they got Karlsson, because their entire scheme is shots from the point and their defensemen lighting up the net.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah, but-
got Karlsson, I would be horrified. I do think he ends up a Penguin, but if they got Karlsson, oh boy.
Yeah, but then you're taking away one of their scoring forwards, likely like a Jarvis or maybe a Nate, just probably not Nate, just like a Jack Drury. And I love Jack Drury. I think he's really like, I don't think he's a fourth line center. He should probably be playing higher.
You mean
Probably
like
my
as far
opinion.
as what's going back the other way?
Right to San Jose.
Oh,
in
I
this
mean, you're
instance.
doing that trade if it's between
Right,
either
exactly.
number
You're going to
or-
do it, but then who's playing? I mean, not like it matters who's playing 4C, but like,
Who cares? You got
right,
Karlsson.
exactly. The thing that is Carolina though that gives me pause and is, well, for one, their goaltending.
Yeah.
Freddie Anderson, Antti Ranta, like they got lucky-ish last year with goaltending. I don't think they sustained too big of injuries, but they have Kochetkov too, so they're in that NHL modern day three NHL caliber goalie.
Carolina
system.
would argue the same for us. Carolina fans would
Yeah.
argue the same for us.
Oh, with Vanacek.
Got a little lucky with goaltending. It's not gonna.
Sure, but the thing is with Ranta and Anderson, I'm getting at is that they're often injury prone, and they kind of got lucky last year. It's like, so what if Anderson goes down with the Schneider? He gets his hip gives out. It's like then it's Ranta and Kochetkov for an entire year. It's like,
Oh, Ranta's really good. Ranta's been
Yeah.
good forever.
It's not terrible. Their goaltending's solid. Neither of their goalies are the handful of guys.
Right.
right.
So again,
but I think with Carolina,
goaltending-
they can kind of get away with it with the system that
Yeah.
they play.
Well,
They're
exactly.
pretty.
The goalie's
Exactly.
facing less than 20 shots a game. Like, it doesn't.
The quality of chance that they give up is
Yeah.
very low, much like the Devils.
All right, boys, we're running a little long here, so I don't think I heard very specifics. We've kind of talked about it in a roundabout way. Give me a quick blurb from each of you, unless maybe you kind of explained this and I just got lost in the shuffle. Why you do have Carolina over the Devils? What is the specific nuance or just clear cut? This is why, whether it's by a point or multiple, that you do have Carolina over your favorite New Jersey Devils, the clearly superior team now and forever. Go ahead.
I think they're kind of interchangeable. I think I just give the edge to Carolina because I think their system is more effective around the league.
I also kind of lean the same way. I mean, if I had to put a point total, I would do probably like Carolina like 112, New Jersey like 110.
Yeah.
I mean, forward wise, I think we have better forwards. They're not entirely far because I think a lot of their guys are underrated, and Svechnikov being healthy again is a huge boost for them.
Yeah.
Defensively, I mean,
They take
I don't know if you're going to find a better 1 through 6 in the entire NHL for them. I mean,
I'll push
it's-
back. I'll push back on
Go ahead.
that. I think if
Go ahead.
Luke hits, and by the end of the season, our defense is better. Nemec comes up. I think we clear them 1 through 6.
maybe.
And then in that, I don't think it's too
I don't think it's
different.
too different.
If Schmid takes another step forward, which would be unbelievable, I think then we can go one step further than them in terms of points and maybe comparing the rosters as a whole. But I don't think there's too much to differentiate the two teams. Like you said, with your tier system, it's Devils Hurricanes on the top, no questions asked. Everybody else.
pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
I agree.
nothing.
Forwards clear. Defense, I think they have the experience overall. But if Luke is Luke,
I mean, you saw what he
That's-
did against Washington at the end of the season.
that's the factor really for me. If Luke comes right in and has a McCarr-esque rookie season,
I hope, dude.
I don't see how you argue theirs is better than ours at that point. If Luke has growing pains, okay, they have the
I
experience.
don't think he will.
We had the better long-term outlook, but for this, just talking this next season, Carolina's stacked. They're a horrifying team.
Yeah.
I absolutely hear every argument for them being cup favorites, but I think we are too. So
Yeah,
I
I
have
mean,
us
I
over
think
them.
it's the two best teams in the league, to be honest with you.
yeah,
That's fair.
which we were last year too. Just
Right.
Boston plays in a weak division, so
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think that's probably a pretty good spot to wrap it up in. You guys got anything else?
Nothing else to add from ranking standpoint. I just want to give BP a shout out for stepping in for me for the first couple episodes. Having some technical difficulties on the back end, camera, mic, all that fun technology stuff, but happy to finally be on the show.
Yeah.
More to come.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see more of you. Well, we'll definitely see more of you in a couple weeks, at least.
Mr. Fancy.
And Mr. Fancy, I'll be on vacation.
all right, boys.
Yeah.
Good episode.
Yeah.
You're both fake fans, and
Sorry. Not sorry.
I think we have a slight announcement. Unless something crazy changes, our next episode should have a bit of an interview.
Yeah, we should have a special guest. I'm really looking forward to that one.
So look forward to that, everyone. I'm sure we'll blast it out on social media.
Yeah.
That's it over here. Timo Meyer is the best player in the NHL. Deuces.
Take it easy, everyone.